If you're in the coaching space and you'd like to create your first ever high ticket offer, or maybe you already have one that's not selling, today we're going to be doing a mini masterclass breaking down the key components to going and creating your first $5,000 offer that is actually going to be able to sell. Okay, obviously it's a free YouTube video, so I have no idea if you are capable of being able to sell it. So obviously no income claims around here. Stay tuned, make sure you get out a pen, paper, take some copious amounts of notes. Feel free to save this video for later if need be, and let's go ahead and dive on in. And just to answer the question, who am I? Why should you give me a grain or two of salt of your trust? Well, my name is Zach Hesterberg. I'm the founder of paidevents.com, where we help coaches, course creators, experts sell high-ticket services using paid virtual events. And before I was doing that, I had a done-for-you style marketing agency for a little over a decade where we were helping people really run ads, build funnels, and ultimately scale up high-ticket offers. If I pulled up my Stripe account right now, we have probably a little over 1,000 paying customers and clients that we've worked with over the years. Most of those have been in the coaching space. We've seen a ton of offers that have done very, very well. You know, people that have made literally 7 figures in a single day before. And we've also seen a lot of offers that people have had a very hard time getting off the ground. And so today's information, today's video, today's episode will be a culmination of everything that we have learned in actually being the marketers behind the deals and helping really try to scale up as much as possible these sorts of offers. And also, we do practice what we preach, okay? We do have our own high-ticket offers. I've really never been in the game of only selling some sort of like a low-ticket membership. For our agency services, we charge anywhere from, when I first got started in 2015, $1,000, maybe $2,000 a month, which obviously if we kept a client for that time, for a full year, that'd be $10,000 to $12,000 a year. And that was some of the lowest service pricing that we've ever done. We know how to do done-for-you style offers. We also have a coaching offer where we literally launched it last year. It is a multi-5-figure offer, and we scaled it from literally $0, making zero money at the beginning of the year on this specific offer. We launched it in March. We built it out, we refined it, and we got to the point where that specific offer did around $200,000 just with that offer alone in the month of November. That does not include other revenue sources as well. All right, so for the first step in creating a $5,000 offer or higher is to make sure that the problem you're solving is an expensive one. What do I mean by that? Well, I think the easiest way before we actually get into examples is we can go and create a few categories that your problems might reside in, or your ideal customer's problems might reside in. Okay, so there's typically 3 key categories of life that people are happy to pay a high ticket offer or enroll into a high ticket offer in order to solve. Okay, so the first key category would be finances. The second one would be usually their health. And then the third one would be relationships, okay? So actually, you know, for rhyming and alliteration, let's go ahead and go with wealth, health, and relationships. So if you can help someone, for example, in the wealth category, if you can help them make more money than what you're charging, great. That's just a great investment, okay? That's an easy one. Or maybe you can help them save more money. For example, maybe you're a tax strategist and you help people save this amount of money in taxes. Maybe it's like $25,000 in taxes that you're going to save them, and you're only going to charge them $10,000 to do so. Well, great. They're coming out $15,000 in a net positive gain in that case. And so obviously, once again, very logical, easy problem to pay for. Like that's just a great offer right there. Okay, so that's like a couple examples on wealth. Now, as far as the health category goes, health is interesting because typically people either want to live longer or they want to look good naked. At the end of the day, those are really, for the most part, the 2 key things. I mean, sure, you could say that like people want more energy, but energy is not usually a crazy expensive problem to solve in and of itself. And so, for example, to live longer, if someone knows that they're on their deathbed because they're morbidly obese, there can be a high degree of urgency that they need to fix. Okay, they need to solve that problem sooner rather than later, or else they quite literally might die early. The other option is, hey, if you are about to, I don't know, maybe you're talking to someone that's about to go get married and they're trying to look good for their honeymoon and they're going to go on this beach vacation or this cruise, this destination wedding with a nice cruise afterwards, and they want to look great in a bikini or great in a swimsuit or look great back in the hotel room after they go get married, right? Like that's going to be another very time sensitive thing that someone is happy to actually pay a good degree of money for in order to solve because they can't get that moment back. Okay, so that would be another area of health that people are more than happy to pay for. And then obviously there are some other key aspects as well. So for example, maybe someone is just a couple pounds overweight, or maybe, I don't know, 20, 30, 50 pounds overweight. And it's not like they're about to die early, but it's, looking good naked isn't necessarily like the biggest thing. Maybe it's, their weight is keeping them from being able to step on stage confidently. And, because of it, it's, they're not actually putting themselves out there. This is a very specific example, but let's say they're a public speaker or could be a public speaker. They want to be a public speaker. And instead of, going out and doing one keynote engagement every single month and maybe getting paid $10,000 a month for keynote speaking, right? Maybe they're like, you know what? I'm not even going to put myself out there. I don't want to reach out to other events. I don't want to try to lock in more gigs. If someone reaches out to me, sure, but I don't want to put myself out there because I'm not confident getting on the stage based on what I look like. And maybe right now that's costing them 6, 7, 8 speaking engagements per year. Boom, immediately that right there. Now we're actually going back into a financial payoff right there. So that's an interesting one. So some of these, and sometimes the best offers will kind of cross over into multiple different categories. But anyway, that's another just a quick little example on the health. And then as far as relationships, relationships can also kind of have a few subcategories. Maybe there's a married couple and they're experiencing some marital issues and they're trying to save themselves from divorce. If they're trying to save themselves from divorce, once again, wow, look at how I just did that. That immediately ties income back into it. That immediately ties finances back into it because the cost of divorce is significantly higher than the cost of, a $5,000 investment in saving their marriage. So that would be another one. So like, for example, marriage coaching. Another one might be coaching parents. And specifically, like, you'd have to be way more specific. You don't just coach parents for no reason. But for example, if you know that your target avatar has kids that are acting out and getting in trouble, and then, or maybe they're starting fights at the home and they're kind of breaking up the family, or they're tearing away at the family dynamics. That now we're getting a little bit more, out into the, a little bit harder to grasp now. And you can even see, like, as I'm talking about that, it's like, ooh, that's like not as good. Like, that's not as easy to charge $5,000 for just simply helping a parent for no reason, or helping them, with their kids' behavior. You can, and I'm specifically using this. I do know a few people that coach in this space, and you could absolutely have a $5,000 offer-ish, right? Like, go up or down a couple $1,000s there in that specific bucket. But you've got to be very careful. You've really got to make sure that all of your other points that we'll talk about in this video, we'll have to make sure that all of those are really, really dialed in order to easily sell that offer. Okay. So anyway, that's another one would be parenting. And then another one would simply be like dating, right? So, helping someone actually find the love of their life. If they're 30, 40 years old, maybe they're widowed and they're not wanting to die alone and they're wanting to find another partner in the back half of their life. Or maybe, they're 30 or 40 years old and they have yet to meet a spouse. And maybe you're helping them, find that spouse that they could actually spend the rest of their life with, and that way they actually can have kids. And also that creates a great sense of urgency if you are helping someone, especially if you're helping like a female get married and she's already, mid to late 30s. If she has the goal to be a parent someday and she does not yet have any kids, like, there is a time element now that you could really tap into, and that's why they might be happy to hire, whether it's a matchmaker or some sort of a dating coach, to help them out finding the love of their life so that they can now have kids. Anyway, those are just a few of the key categories. Notice I didn't mention mindset coaching. Okay, mindset coaching, get out of here. Mindset coaching is not something that someone is happy to just say, yeah, you know what, I'm happy to pay $5,000 to upgrade my mindset. Why? Why would they want to do that? We'll get more into how, even if you are a mindset coach, like I'll give some other examples on how you can maybe refine your mindset coaching offer and make it quite a bit more specific. But in general, no one wants to simply pay $5,000 for mindset work. Last couple notes that I want to mention on solving for an expensive problem. Just almost like a little checklist you could go through, and you don't have to have every single one of these checked off. But in general, some easy questions to ask yourself is, number one, is the problem that you solve, is it urgent? Do these people have an urgent problem that they are desperately trying to solve for? Number two would be, is there long-lasting frustration behind it? Have they been aware of this problem for a long time, and has it been bothering them for more than like a month? Okay. Third one would be along those same lines, but even more sophisticated. Has there been repeated failed attempts to solve the problem? Is someone not just aware of the problem, but have they tried solving the problem in multiple other ways? That would be another thing. And then fourth one is there a time-sensitive goal in trying to solve the problem. So, for example, I mentioned earlier, if you're helping someone, for example, lose weight or look good naked for their upcoming wedding, if they're getting married, there's a time-sensitive goal. They know that they've got 4 months left or 6 months left or 9 months left before they walk down the aisle. They have to achieve that goal in the next 9 months because they're not getting that day back. Okay, there are no redos on this one. So those are just a few questions you could ask yourself. And if you can ideally check off 2, 3, even 4 of those specific questions saying yes, 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 you probably have some worthwhile substance here, right? There might be actually some momentum behind the problems that you're trying to solve. Okay, so the second step, after you have a very clear understanding that you are indeed solving an expensive problem, the next question you got to ask yourself is, are you helping your prospects achieve a very specific outcome? Let's be even more specific than that. Are you helping them achieve a tangible or a measurable outcome that they know beyond a shadow of a doubt that, hey, once I've achieved this, I've officially accomplished the goal of working with you? Okay, so let's go over a bad example and then how to make it a better example or a good example. Okay, let's say that you're a music coach and you help individuals get good at playing the guitar. Okay. A bad example of an outcome is saying, I help people get better at playing the guitar. Okay. How would you know? How would you know that you're better at playing the guitar? Would your ideal customer be happy if you helped them understand one more chord? Or would they be happier if you help them understand how to read a couple lines of sheet music? Like, would they say, yeah, cool, this was worth $5,000? Probably not, okay? A better example is in that exact situation would be, let's say that you help someone play the guitar better. Maybe the outcome that they're trying to achieve is getting good enough so that they can join the worship team on their church and officially start playing the guitar at church. So that might be an outcome is I help Christian musicians or I help Christian guitarists get good enough at the guitar so they can strum confidently on stage at their church. Something along those lines. Keep in mind, I've never really played the guitar, so I don't know if that's the correct language, but in general, you understand that, hey, if someone was okay at playing the guitar, but there was no way they've ever played a gig before, and now all of a sudden they're on the worship team at church, that is a very clear transformation. Another one would be, I help guitarists land their first paying gigs. Something along those lines. Like, that would also be a very clear outcome. Also, notice the playing or landing your first paying gigs, that all of a sudden tied financials back into now music, right? Music is not like health, wealth, and relationships. None of those, like, I didn't say music. I didn't say hobbies in any of those. However, you could take a hobby and all of a sudden help them understand how they can tie that in to their desire to make more money. Boom, there you go. That's immediately, there's some more substance to an offer like that. I'll give one other example on a bad example and then turning it into a better example. So let's say that you are a confidence coach. You help people become more confident. Okay. What does that mean? Right? What does that mean? Obviously, I don't think you'd just be saying, I help people become more confident after step one, right? Like step one, you're like, what's the expensive problem? Why is their lack of confidence in this case costing them so much? And usually the easiest way to go is categorizing it in one of those subcategories I mentioned earlier. So is it financials that's hurting them because like their confidence is hurting their financial, or maybe their confidence is hurting their health, or maybe their confidence is hurting their relationships. And so let's just go once again, I'm just going to go the financial route because it's so much easier, but you could easily play this into the relationship route. So the financial route would be, hey, I help you confidently ask and secure your next raise on average 6 months sooner than what you were on track for. Boom, there you go. Like that's immediately making this more specific, much more tangible. Or maybe it's I help our client or whatever. We help you on average confidently ask for a raise that's 20% more than industry average, or I don't know, something like that. And not just ask for the raise, but actually secure the raise, right? So that would be another one that, hey, if you could help someone confidently get a raise that's 20% more than the industry average, and they're already making $100,000, and maybe the industry average would be, hey, you might get a $5,000 bump. Okay, well, that actually wouldn't be a great example, because 20% more, that'd only be a $6,000 bump. Now you're only helping them make an extra $1,000 a year. So that would not be a great, a great example, honestly. But I think you can understand where I'm coming from on that. The numbers I used top of mind were bad examples, but the premise of it, of being able to secure a raise, 6 months faster, or maybe 20% higher or 50% higher than what you were on track for, that immediately becomes more tangible. And there's like now a number in mind that someone's like, oh yeah, I'd be happy to pay this. I'd be happy to pay X in order to get Y back. It's a great financial offer. Now, if you want to take that confidence example and turn it into the world of relationships, you could say something along the lines of, let's say that you serve those 35 or 37-year-old women who are wanting to have kids, and you tie this into, assuming they're single, is I help you confidently not just land first dates, but gosh, I mean, like, weed out. This is such a esoteric. I don't know if esoteric is even the right word, but like it's such an odd example. I am thinking of it off the top of my mind, but helping them confidently land their first date, and also secure relationships without pushing the guy away or whatever. I help you confidently, or I give you the confidence to crush your dating life and and take your first date and turn it into your last date, or like the last first date ever, or something along those lines. That's already, once again, you could see that this is like, it's getting harder for me, because that's not a great offer. Like, that's not going to be something that's super easy to help someone make more money, or help someone justify why that's going to be worth $5,000. You totally can, right? You could turn that into a relationship-oriented offer. You're just going to take a little bit more time, a little bit more thought behind that. Okay. Now, the third step in creating a $5,000 or higher offer would be making sure you have a crystal clear understanding of who your avatar is. Let's actually refine that. Let's get even more specific and say you need a super specific avatar. And when I say avatar, I just mean like a person in mind that you serve. Notice I said person, not groups of people, okay? I'm not saying, hey, I am someone that helps 25 to 45-year-old men in their relationships. Okay, that would be a bad example, because a 25-year-old man has a different, he's in a different stage of life than a 45-year-old man. The 45-year-old man very well might already have kids. He very well might have already had a previous marriage, right? The 45-year-old man probably is more established in his career. The 25-year-old man is probably quite a bit more busy. He's doing quite a bit more travel. Like, they're different stages of life. So let's think about this. When you want to get really specific on who your avatar is, I would say the first place to start would be, what stage are they in? So if you're helping someone if you're helping normal consumers out, and when I say normal consumers, I mean, like, you're not working with business owners. Okay, what stage of life are they in? Think about what age they are. Think about if they're married, if they're single, if they're dating. Are they in school? Where are they at in their career? Like, what stage of life are they in? Now, number two on this one would be struggle. Okay, what struggles are they up against? And thirdly would be, how sophisticated are they? Okay, so for example, let's say that you are, once again, just a dating coach, and you're helping 25-year-old men with their relationships and land, first dates with very attractive females or something like that, right? Like, the stage that they're at, you obviously have to understand age and gender and kind of where they're at in life, etc. And then the struggles. What struggles are they up against? The 25-year-old is going to have a different struggle than the 45-year-old. The 25-year-old, while he might not have kids yet, he's probably really working hard in his career, and that's up to you. Maybe you want to work. Maybe you want to work with really, really busy young professional men, versus maybe you want to work with dudes that are just like, working very standard 9-to-5 jobs, and they're not really putting in more than 40 hours a week. They're not super busy. Like, that's a different stage as well, right? But then, as far as sophistication goes, You got to think about has your ideal avatar done anything to solve this problem? Has he or she already hired coaches before? Has he or she already been searching YouTube videos to solve this problem before? Has he or she already invested, whether it's financially or through time, to solve this problem? How much have they invested? Like, there's all of these things you want to think about. And same thing, obviously, if you were serving business owners, you want to think about the stage of business that they're in. You want to think about what struggles in business are they in, and then also how sophisticated are they are they around solving those specific struggles within their business. Now, key thing to think about is linking this one back to an expensive problem. So point number one, when we talk about solving an expensive problem, you want to make sure that the avatar that you choose is someone that can ideally easily justify a $5,000 or higher investment. Okay, so maybe it it wouldn't be the most wise thing in the world to say that, hey, I'm going to help unemployed people go get a job and they're going to pay me $5,000 for it. If they're unemployed, they're probably not going to have much income, which means they're also probably not going to have much of a savings, which also means if they're unemployed, they're probably not going to have much access to credit either, because creditors are going to be looking at their proof of income. Okay, so that would probably not be a great avatar to go out and choose your high ticket offer to be centered around. So because of the fact that we're right now, we're going through this episode, we're going through this training, and you get the luxury of choosing, right? Like it's not like you have to do something you've always done. Like today, right here, right now, you get to choose. Hey, I want to work with a more affluent individual. I want to work with someone who is financially capable and financially able and willing to easily spend $5,000 or $10,000 to solve this specific problem in their life. And so the cool thing is, with this, like, let's just say that we use the health scenario, right? And you help someone lose weight. Okay. If you help the average 9 to 5 person lose a little bit of weight, and they don't have some sort of a clear deadline for why they need to lose weight, they don't have any like super crazy high pain, they're not going to pay a ton of money to lose the weight. Okay. However, if you help a business owner lose a little bit of weight, and you can specifically, once again, like, your service isn't really changing. You're helping someone lose weight. But the person that you're helping, if they value their time at a far higher level, they would be usually willing to pay a little bit higher to achieve the same sort of results. So, for example, like myself, I would not trust I wouldn't trust paying someone $200 a month or $500 a month for health and fitness training, right? It's not that they're bad. It's just that I value my time too much. And so if someone is going to be saying that they charge, $500 per month for training me, it's not that, like, part of me doesn't trust them. It's like, oh yeah, like they must not work with people like myself. It's weird. Like, I understand this is weird. You're probably sitting here thinking like, wow, this guy likes to overpay for things. Well, it's that if you charge that little, it's very rare that I pay any vendor that amount of money or less. It's usually quite a bit more that I pay for things whenever I'm working with other individuals, and it's because I value my time so greatly. I usually just expect to pay for the absolute best of the best of the best, because I would assume that they're going to be a little bit more efficient. I would also assume that they're going to know how to help me get my end result sooner rather than later. And the more I can outsource to them, the more valuable it becomes to me. Okay. And so, for example, I would actually assume that I'd be paying $1,000, maybe $2,000 even per month for some sort of a trainer to work with me on whatever, fitness and nutrition, and hold me accountable and helping me out with meal preps, and maybe securing like, hey, you got to use this specific meal prep company. Like, I would imagine I would be paying quite a bit more for that. Once again, it might be the exact same service that someone else would say, there's no way I'd pay more than $500 a month for that. But the point here is that I have quite a bit more funds, and I value my time quite a bit more greatly, and I also value my health quite a bit more greatly than someone else might. And so choose someone that is financially able to pay you higher ticket services, right? Or higher ticket fees for maybe the exact same service that you're providing. Okay, so the fourth step is, after you have a very clear understanding of this is the expensive problem that I'm solving, and this is the specific outcome, the measurable outcome that I'm helping people accomplish. And then thirdly, obviously, you're very clear on who is your ideal avatar, or who is your ideal customer. Now, I want you to think about, what is your framework? What is the framework for which you get people the results? For example, you might want to think about either steps or systems or phases of which your target customer will go through. And so, like, there's obviously a journey to that result. So, if someone says, "Yep, I want to pay you, I want to work with you for XYZ transformation," they need to see that there is uh, a clear journey to accomplishing that outcome. So, for example, let's say that you are helping someone, get a raise. Okay, this is a very random example, top of mind, but you might break that into three phases, and it's like, okay, so look, right when you work with us, phase number one is we're going to be doing an audit of all of the performance that you've done in this specific job over the last 6 to 12 months, and really compiling all of the data and the value that you've actually brought forth to the company. And then we're going to be able to use that as we head into phase number two, which is justification. And justification is going to be the process where we will go through and actually look at industry averages based on all of the stuff that you're doing. How does that actually match up with what other companies would typically be paying people for the exact scope of work? And so ideally, we can help justify, right? We can use this new set of data, this market research data, and we can use that to justify why the value you've been bringing is worth such a higher raise or a significantly higher amount of pay than what you've been getting. Okay. And then phase number three is going to be, conversation prep or something like that. And conversation prep is really going to be getting you very, very clear on how to actually go have that conversation and confidently ask for that raise, so you don't seem like a dog with your tail between your legs, but you actually go in there chest out and you can easily and confidently ask for the raise because you have the data and you have the value that you've already brought. And even if they say no, you'll be able to XYZ, right? Like, you'll be able to easily take that to another company and be able to make a lateral transition and get paid even more in another company for the same job position, something along those lines. Like, that is an example of a three-phase system to get someone the clear end result. No one, for example, like that is so much more clear than saying, "Hey, I'm going to help you get a raise, and you're going to work with me indefinitely," right? It's going to be month by month, and I'm going to continue working with you until you get that raise. Like, what? No, there's no clarity on how you're going to help me get the raise. Don't just tell me you're going to do it. Show me how you're going to do it. Walk me through the steps. Walk me through the system of which we get this desired result. So make sure that you can document in ideally a certain number of steps or phases or pillars how and why someone is able to get the results that you are claiming that they'll be able to get while working with you. Okay, so after you have a clear understanding on your core framework and your core process to get someone the results that you're claiming, now it's time to actually go into step 5, which is having a clear customer journey. Now, a clear customer journey, when I say that, we'll get more specific and say there are 3 core steps to having a clear customer journey. Okay, so step 1 is going to be a set duration. Okay, no one wants to work with you, believe it or not, as awesome as you are. No one wants to work with you month over month over month over month with no end in sight. The only reason they're working with you is to ultimately solve an expensive problem. And by having your work set up or your offer set up in a way that's saying, "Oh yeah, people just pay us by the month until this problem is solved," that means that there's no clarity on when they can expect the problem to be solved. Are we talking a 2-month duration? Is this going to be a 3-year duration? What's it look like? No, no, no. I, as a buyer, I want to have a clear expectation on, hey, this should take about 3 months to accomplish, or this is going to be a 4-month process or a 6-month process, or maybe a year-long process. It's up to you. There's no right or wrong way to decide whether it's 3 or 4 or 6 or 12 months. Ideally, you do keep it a 1 year or less, and just keep in mind the shorter the engagement, the more valuable it is, because time is money, and people don't want to deal with the problem for longer than longer than necessary. And so this actually goes against what a lot of people think when they're trying to create their offer. They're like, "Oh, you know what? I'll give people way more time, and that more time can actually now justify my higher price point." And quite literally, no one wants to work with you for longer than they need to. So it's actually the opposite. If you want to make your offer more expensive and more of a premium price, help your customer get the desired result they want in as little time as possible. Now, you also want to make sure that the set duration that you are selling your engagements for is also enough time to be able to get them the results. Have a little bit of padding in there. So if you know that on average it takes about 3 months, maybe you start telling people that, hey, it's a 4-month engagement, because on average it takes 3 months. And we also like to have a little bit of leeway just in case you need a little bit more time. You have an off week or something. Now, the second category of a clear customer journey is having set milestones or wins along the way, right? So, for example, I almost kind of did this whenever I was breaking down the core framework on being able to, like, if you help someone get a raise, right? The first milestone would be having a list of, 13, or I'm going to use a more easy number. Let's say a list of at least 10 things or 10 points of value that you brought to the company. And we're also going to have clear financial values attached to each of those things that you've done, so that you can see a grand total of the amount of extra value you've brought forth to the company just from those 10 items. Okay, so ideally we can have, and this is getting really, really clear here, which is ideally we can come up with a list of those 10 things. I want to see at least $100,000 of extra value reasonably, not just like a far stretched out cry or a little hope and prayer, but we're talking like legitimately $100,000 of tracked value you've brought to the company from these 10 items. And once you've had those $100,000 of tracked value, boom, that's win number one, is like helping them find $100,000 of value they've brought to the company. Okay. And then it's like, then we're going to find 5 top competitors or 3 top competitors. Boom, there's another win, is like having a very specific amount of competitors. It's saying we're going to have 3 top competitors or 5 top competitors who are actively paying at least 20% or more than what you're actively making for the exact job position of those 10 things that we laid out in step 1. Okay, and so now this is win number 2, is essentially competitor research or competitor or whatever, market research. And so it's not just market research for the sake of market research. You're actively getting data points, 3 different data points or 5 different data points of companies that are hiring for your exact position of those 10 things that you've already done, and they are paying XYZ more than what you're making, right? And so now that's a second winner. That's a second milestone. And then the third one would be like, hey, we're going to give you a talk track to go in and crush that meeting that you're going to have with your superior. Okay, and so that would be like a clear talk track would be, okay, once you're done with this phase, you're going to know exactly what to say, almost verbatim, word for word, to land that interview. And you're also going to have confidence on doing it without the script itself, right? So that, that would be another kind of win, is the confidence to go do it. And then the fourth clear transformation would be, boom, you've actually had the interview and you've actually achieved your specific outcome, which is getting that raise. So anyway, that's one example, but regardless of your offer, make sure that you break it down into some clear milestones along the way, because no one just wants to say, cool, I'm going to pay you $5,000 now, and I'm going to have no idea where I'm at in the process until month 4. Ideally, you want to have some milestones and wins that they can see along the way, that, hey, once they achieve X, they know this is now validation for them that, wow, I'm making progress here. It's going to feel good. They're going to be these little mini hits of dopamine to really instill belief in themselves. They're like, wow, yeah, like we're doing this, and it's going to help you get out of any potential buyer's remorse, right? Many people experience buyer's remorse within the first week or so of buying a product or buying a service and not actually getting any sort of clear outcome yet. And so really that would actually be the first thing, is if you could try to come up with a clear milestone or a clear win or a clear takeaway that someone's going to have roughly in the first week of working with you, it's going to make your offer so much more valuable. And the third little bucket on the clear customer journey is going to be deliverables, right? What are you as the service provider going to do for them? What are you going to give them? Is it going to be SOPs? Is it going to be scripts? Is it going to be, curriculums and trainings? Is it going to be, I don't know, you're going to make them a new website? Like, what are you as the service provider actually going to give them that is a tangible deliverable that they didn't have to do the work for? So if you can have some sort of tangible deliverable that would also make your customer journey significantly more valuable and also a little bit less overwhelming. They know that you're in this with them. Okay, guys, home stretch here. We're getting close. The next step right now is going to be actually creating your service delivery vehicle or your coaching vehicle. Okay. What I mean by that is you want to think about the line items that your clients will actually have access to once they pay you, once they sign the agreement, once they give you their credit card. What are the line items they are actually getting from you? Usually, this is, especially for a $5,000 offer or higher, this is not just going to be just a plain old course, okay? Especially in today's day and age, 2026, at the time of recording this, no one just wants more information. No one just needs more education, okay? That's all fine and dandy, but we all know darn good and well we could get that here on YouTube. We can get it on other podcasts. We could get it on AI. We could get it on Google. Information is cheap, okay? So while I do highly encourage you have course curriculum and you have documented trainings and SOPs that you're giving people access to, I also encourage you to have another line item on here that would be some sort of a group model, a group container, okay? Whether that is maybe it's like an open office hour call that you host once or twice a week that they can jump on with any and all of your other clients, and they can all jump on and ask questions and, get answers to their nuanced questions in front of everyone. Or maybe it's some sort of a group coaching call that you are coming prepared bi-weekly or maybe every week or once a month. Ideally, more touch points, the better though. So maybe it's weekly where you're coming prepared with a new lesson that you're going to teach to the group live every single week on, Saturdays at 10 a.m. Central Time. And the value in attending those live is that after you finish up the training, you then open it up to Q&A for nuanced questions. Okay, so that would be another kind of line item, would be some sort of a group call component or a live group coaching element, okay? And then the third component that I'd highly encourage would be some sort of I'd say on demand loosely, okay? So not on demand at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday, right? But like maybe 9 to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, you offer some sort of extra support through whether it's Telegram or Slack or a Facebook group or a Discord channel. But there's some other sort of messaging component that people don't have to, if they don't have that time available to jump on that group coaching call, they can message into this specific app or this specific place, and they can get answers to their questions kind of on the fly throughout the week. Now, those are quite literally the core components on how to go make a high-ticket coaching offer, a $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, maybe even $20,000 offer, depending on, obviously, the size of problem that you're solving for people. I still have a couple extra bonuses that I highly encourage you take into consideration if you actually want to make this offer even easier to sell and more scalable to sell in the future, okay? So firstly is I would highly encourage for you to write down the list of all of the main reasons why someone might not feel like they're a good fit for your offer. Maybe all of the limitations that they feel as if because of this limitation, I don't think your offer is going to work for me, right? So one of the easiest ones to take into consideration would be time. A lot of people might hear your offer. They're like, this sounds incredible, but especially if you're selling to a rich person, you're selling to someone that's a little bit more affluent, their time is going to be of the essence. And so for that person that says, wow, this sounds incredible, but I just don't have the time. I don't think I have enough time to get the results while working with you. Well, you can kind of pre-handle that objection by incorporating, whether it's like some sort of a swipe file, or maybe it's some sort of a done for you element of your service, or any sort of a templated resource maybe that you are providing for them or with them that's going to help them see like, wow, because of this one little part of your offer, I can see actually how that's going to save me way more time than I realized. So for example, like one of the things we do is when we're helping people out with events, one of the, by far, one of the biggest time-consuming parts of planning for an event is building out all of the tech, right? The making your actual funnel, the sales page, and setting up all the email automations and writing the copy. And so we have a pre-built Go High Level snapshot that boom, lickety-split, you take one click and you can import that directly into your Go High Level account. And now 80% of the tech work has already been built for you. That saves people literally weeks of time. So obviously, I don't know what you're selling, but just keep in mind, you'll want to have some sort of an element in your offer that when they hear about that, they're like, wow, that makes sense how that one part of this offer is going to save me a lot of time and actually allow me to be a great fit for this program despite my lack of time. Now, another one would be for the person that they hear about your offer and they're like, this sounds great, but I just don't have the existing skills that I need in order to be a good fit for this. And so you want to think about, maybe there are some extra bonus modules or some bonus trainings that you have for these people to get them caught up to speed to where they need to be in order for the main curriculum to be a good fit for them. Or maybe in all of your curriculums, you make sure that you don't just kind of have high-level trainings, but you emphasize how, hey, every single training that we have is a click-by-click tutorial. So for example, if you're helping someone set up like a sales page, it's like, hey, this one tutorial is click-by-click. You follow that tutorial, and every single time we click a button, you'll be able to do it the same thing on the other side of your screen. And by the end of that video, you're going to have this sales page built, whether you've ever logged into a sales page builder before or not. It does not matter how rookie you are or how fresh you are with this skill set of building web pages, you'll be able to follow our trainings. Like that right there is a level of certainty for someone. A third category of limitation or an objection that someone may have that you'll want to pre-handle, right, would be the level of risk that they are taking by enrolling into your program. So risk can be handled in a few different ways. I'll say number one, first and foremost, the more testimonials and case studies you have, it helps someone see, wow, this actually isn't so risky. If I see that I'm looking to work with a trainer to lose 20 pounds of weight or whatever, and they have a list of 100 other successful business owners who are all making 7 and 8 figures a year, saying how, they got this, whatever, they invested, they took the leap of faith, and they actually got the great result that I'm looking to get, like, amazing, boom, that de-risks it for me. Immediately, it lowers the risk because it shows me that other people have actually taken the risk first, and now it's less risky for me. It's okay if you don't have case studies or testimonials. You might actually have to go deliver your service for free for a little while and maybe get some testimonials, or maybe you do it for a discounted price in exchange for some testimonials. Admittedly, I've done that before as well. Another way to de-risk some sort of a coaching offer like this would be helping them see the opportunity cost. So maybe, for example, if someone is, like if you're a health coach and you're helping someone lose a lot of weight, and you help diabetics who are like on their deathbed or I don't know, like 6 months or 12 months away from really catastrophic health failure, maybe you help them see that, hey, technically, sure, I understand this amount seems like a lot of money. $5,000 might seem like a lot of money, but how much money is it going to be? Or really, what's this going to cost you if you don't solve this in the next 6 to 12 months? What are you really looking at in hospital bills, or quite literally your life? So, right, like that's immediately like, boom, yeah, I'd much rather pay $5,000 as compared to having, $100,000 of hospital bills, or, having to quite literally, die early or something along those lines. So that would be another way to show someone through opportunity costs. Like that's obviously not a financial ROI offer. You're not helping them make more money in that case. You're showing them that there's so much more to lose if they don't solve the problem than the amount of money that they'd lose by simply working with you. That would be another way, is just by helping them see opportunity costs of what it costs them to not solve the problem. That helps them logically justify why they might want to start working with you. And the third way is by actually just reminding them of the actual payoff. So this is probably, once again, easier in the financial bucket, but even in the relationship bucket, if you help someone get married, or you help someone save their marriage, or if you help someone, literally anything in health even. Once again, like look better for their wedding day and feel confident as you're walking down the aisle, and the pictures that they're going to have for the rest of their life of their wedding day. What's that worth to you? Is it worth $5,000 to be able to look back on your pictures for the rest of your life and say, wow, I looked incredible in that dress, or wow, I looked incredible up at the altar in front of my wife, or wow, I felt incredible that first night when I went back to the hotel with my wife. Just helping them understand the core payoff and comparing that value of the end payoff or the end outcome to the small amount of cost, the small, $5K or $10K investment that you're charging to help them get that. Is it worth it? And it should, ideally, the end value should be so much higher than what you're charging that they're like, yeah, absolute no-brainer. Once again, it helps them logically justify and de-risk the situation. And the last way to kind of pre-handle some of these objections is by remembering that some people, they'll hear about your whole offer and they're like, this sounds great, I think, but it's kind of overwhelming. It seems like I'm just a little lost, right? And so a confused buyer is not a buyer. A confused prospect will never end up buying from you. So you've got to make sure that they're crystal clear. And the way to make sure they're crystal clear is actually, ironically, by going back through this video and truly mastering this, by having one really clear problem that you help them solve. And by focusing all of your attention on helping them achieve one really clear, measurable, tangible outcome, okay, and then also making sure that you serve a really clear, very specific avatar or person, okay, and also then fourthly, making sure that you have a very clear framework for how you're going to get them the results. Because if they're unclear about any of that, they're like, like this sounds good, but like I'm not 100% sure that like you work with people just like me, or like, this sounds good, but like I don't actually know what the outcome is of like why I'd want to work with you. Like if they are having those sorts of thoughts, they're never going to buy from you. Okay. And the last little bonus for you is skill stacking. Okay. This has nothing to do with your offer itself, but some of you guys might be going through this video, you've made it through, and you're like, yeah, this sounds good, but like, I don't know that what I do actually solves that expensive of a problem. And like, for example, maybe you're some sort of a mindset coach, right? Like that's amazing. Like, if you can help people with their mindset and, NLP and whatnot, like all of those are great skills. However, they're not specific enough. And so maybe you might look at this and you're like, my skill, if your skill truly doesn't help someone in a way that you can easily charge $5,000 for, you might realize that it's time to actually go learn another skill and combine this new skill with your existing skill. So for example, what would it look like if maybe NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, which is a way to kind of rewire someone's thought process? What would it look like to learn how to use NLP in stage presentations? How can you help someone use neuro-linguistic programming to increase their sales conversions? Or what would it look like to use neuro-linguistic programming to help someone get past trauma that's actually pushing away the loves of their life and actually hurting all of their relationships, okay? You could quickly see like, wow, I just used a broad subject and tied it into maybe another skill that you might have to learn a little bit more about. And then you have a very unique process to be able to get people core results. And so I'll give a direct example. Like myself, I first learned Facebook ads, and Facebook ads are incredible to be able to, drive traffic into a business and be able to get more leads. And that's awesome and all. However, Facebook ads in and of themselves don't make people more money. You have to have a great sales process. And so when I learned that, and I learned that, hey, some of our clients made a lot of money whenever I ran their ads, and some clients didn't make any money at all, I learned that the difference was oftentimes the offer, as well as their sales conversion rates, like whether it's their actual sales team, like how they were conducting calls, or maybe it was their sales funnel. Maybe it was like their opt-in rates were really, really low, or there's something wrong with their website or their webinar that just wasn't converting. And so then I learned what I would call sales process consulting or sales process optimization. And I learned how to go diagnose any sales process across any industry and find holes and find gaps that are easy to plug and be able to ultimately make someone's sales process more efficient, which yields to higher return on ad spend. When I was able to then combine my Facebook ad skills with sales process consulting, that allowed me to have another big jump in my income. It's interesting because the sales process consulting, if I just told people I was a sales process consultant, no one wanted that. And actually had a really, really hard time kind of selling myself whenever I was talking to people. No one wanted sales process consulting. They still just wanted Facebook ads help, but they didn't need just Facebook ads help. And that's just another little gem for you right now, is that just because you have something that someone needs doesn't mean that that's what they want. And so a great piece of advice I got from a mentor, Jeremy Haynes, back in December of 2021, he said, Zach, you've got to learn to give people what they want and deliver what they need. And so that might mean that you need to learn two skills, right? You might already have one skill that they need, but if they don't want it, that's not helping anyone. So you might have to go learn the skill that people want help with, and then you are able to apply the other skill, which is what they need in the back end of actually working with you, right? So that is actually what allowed me to have that next jump in income of being able to apply my sales process consulting work to the Facebook ads clients. And all of a sudden my Facebook ads work was getting far better results than most normal Facebook ad buyers because I knew so much more about optimizing people's sales processes. And then I learned a little bit more about virtual events. And so that was my next skill that I was acquiring, was how do you host like virtual events specifically to gain more trust and do it at scale? Like how do you gain a lot of trust with a lot of people with one short presentation, right? That's a totally different skill set. That's not just general sales process consulting. You're not just changing the little conversion rate on a page. You're actually manufacturing a know, like, and trust factor with potentially thousands of people in one presentation over the course of a couple days. That's a totally different skill set. And then learning how to make sure people get there and learning how to sell tickets, which I did already know that part, but like, how do you actually make sure they show up? And then how do you make sure the presentation will convert? Like, that's a different skill set, is actually selling from stage. And so I had to keep investing in those skills. And that is now where we are today, which is paidevents.com. We help coaches and course creators take their high ticket offer that is already selling relatively well, or maybe they get a couple sales, it's validated, they see this offer is going to work, it's got some meat and potatoes to it, right? It's got some legs to stand on, and they're just trying to figure out, how do we stop relying on leads and I would say like word of mouth leads or referrals, right? And so they're ready to turn on ads. But I now, because of all of the work that we've done, we don't just know Facebook ads, we don't just know sales process consulting. We now have a full defined system on helping these people craft virtual events that they can sell tickets to, $7 tickets to, and actually get a whole bunch of people to attend their event. And then we also teach them how to create a really high value presentation, but also a high converting presentation, so that a certain number of the people to buy tickets will end up enrolling into their back end high ticket program, right? That's what we help people with. And so anyway, that's like just a meta example of like how we have evolved in skill stacking to continue to refine our offer, change our offer, and support more people and get them even better results over time. This is like, gosh, 11 years in the making. So while this might sound so simple, guys, it's not like you don't just go add another skill overnight. You can obviously accelerate the rate at which you learn new skills by honestly working with people like ourselves. Like when we work with our clients, we take all of the things that I've learned over those years and we try to boil them down into a clear system. We teach people how to create low ticket offers or AKA paid virtual events. We teach them how to actually write sales pages and write ads that will actually sell tickets with no problem. And then we teach them how to actually run the ads, even if they've never logged into an ads manager before. And then we also teach them how to actually deliver a high value presentation and make sure people show up. Like we teach them, the fourth skill technically would be converting one to many. We teach them how to actually convert in a high value presentation like that. And then the fifth skill is technically like tech and automations and, all the marketing technology. That's another skill. And we boil that down into technically speaking, a 6-month program, but really our first win is helping people within the first 8 weeks. They've already hosted their first event, ideally, give or take a week or two. And so anyway, that's like a very meta example of how we've been able to apply all of what we've learned. And, it's changed and pivoted our offer over time. But anyway, if you'd like to learn a little bit more, honestly, about all of this, I would love to invite you, depending on the time of which you're watching this. We are hosting an upcoming virtual event. It's called Paid Event Secrets. Paid Event Secrets is a $7 live event that it will be virtual. It'll just be about 90 minutes a day on a Monday and a Tuesday. And depending on when you're watching this, we should have the link just below in the YouTube description. But if you just go to paideventsecrets.com, you'll learn all about what we'll be teaching and really how to host one of these virtual events yourselves. And you'll also learn how to acquire those 5 skills that will ultimately serve your business far more later down the road. Whether it's a right now thing, or maybe a 6-month from now thing, or maybe a 6-year from now thing. It's always helpful to learn the knowledge and have a very clear next steps on what to do to continue to grow your business. So hopefully today's video was valuable for you. Today's training was valuable for you in crafting your first ever 5K or higher offer, or maybe you already have an offer and it's just not selling and you're using this video to refine it. I would love to learn what some of your top takeaways were. So if you're watching this on YouTube, drop below your business name or your offer and let me know a little bit more about what your biggest takeaways were. And if you have questions, you'd like me to be able to answer those. I read and respond to every single comment on our YouTube. And also, I'm more than happy to kind of double down and maybe make a follow-up video if you have specific questions. So once again, let me know biggest takeaway. And also, is there anything you'd like me to double down on or answer in maybe a following video? And lastly, if you are new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Zach Hesterberg. Once again, run paidevents.com. But we host 2 events. I'm sorry, not 2 events. We host 2 videos every single week. Every single Tuesday, we drop very tactical information. This is clearly a Tuesday video. Very tactical information that you could apply to your business to go be able to multiply your business, make more money exponentially grow your business, right? And then every Friday, we have Faith Forward Fridays. The Faith Forward Fridays videos are where we are ultimately unpacking some scripture. Maybe it's a quick little specific standalone verse, or maybe we're compiling a bunch of verses, or maybe we're taking a whole book of the Bible and we are talking talking about how it applies to yourself as a leader in the marketplace and how it applies to ultimately being able to make more money and grow your business in a way that would glorify God. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, I would invite you to go ahead, hit the subscribe button somewhere around here, and would love to see you in a future video. And lastly, if you are a returning subscriber, welcome to the channel. We know, or you should know by now, I vastly appreciate your support. We love your support, and you are always welcome around here. And so anyway, if you'd like to, once again, continue to learn a little bit more about what it looks like to continue to build that business, either stay subscribed to the channel or go check out paideventsecrets.com and get your ticket to our upcoming virtual event. Can't wait to see you there. Much love, and till next time. Peace.